Okay, this is the Week 5, Day 1, TSM versus Cloud9 game. TSM is at 4-4 in the split right now. And Cloud9 seemingly on fire. Not watched TSM in about 2 weeks. We'll see if their macro game and their mid play is still one of the primary issues, and we'll see how they're utilizing Haunter up in top lane and what else is really coming from that. So, banned so far, Zoe and Gangplank being banned away by TSM. Ezreal looks like he's going to be first picked for Cloud9. This does mean that Varus and Cog are both available. Looks like they are hovering Skarner. So they lock in the Skarner. Pearson doesn't look like he's in the best of moods. Okay, and so they lock in Braum, they lock in Skarner. And that's a pretty generic... It doesn't give away too much about the team composition. Obviously, they do have a lot of engage, but it's not the type of engage that you can really resist that well. Sejuani and Gnar is the response by Cloud9. So very generic, flexible team compositions that can go in a lot of directions in the second ban phase. TSM snatching up the Xayah, and then they'll probably just actually pinch the mid-champion pool, especially because a lot of mid laners are already pinched. Kassadin is one of the champions that they could potentially be worried about, but the thing is that if Kassadin Rift walks in and then Mike Young is there with Skarner, it can actually end up being disastrous. Did I say Xayah? I meant Talia. Coach, by the way. Okay. Varus does end up getting pinched. And so now Corki and Cassiopeia are banned away. And it looks like that's probably going to be... Yeah. Wait, what? Why are they highlighting Zillion? That's obviously just a placeholder. I'm not going to lock that in. Instead, they are locking in Ornn. So a boatload of engage. And with Gnar already being picked, there's basically no way that they're going to fit a Yasuo into this team composition, because it's very unlikely that Cloud9 would actually put a Yasuo mid. So with Braum already having been taken away, there's really no answer to stop the Ornn ultimate anymore, and it's basically very, very easy for TSM to engage from really long range. They're able to use the Ornn ultimate, follow that up with a Skarner engage, and because the engages come from all these different types of angles, they can actually really skew it and make it very difficult for Svenskeren and Licorice to actually protect any of the carries inside of a team fight. And so now Orianna ends up being picked up by Cloud9. Orianna is not in the best of spots. Like I said, the options that they have here are like LeBlanc. LeBlanc's an option, and they also have Kassadin as another option. You could make an argument that Twisted Fate... The problem with Twisted Fate, though, is that you put a lot of pressure on your team to really go explosive in the early stage, tier 1 item, or first item, second item. So the Orianna does mean that they're going to commit very heavily to the engages. They pick up the Taric, so he's not quite the same as like a Braum or a Yasuo would be to answer the Ornn engage followed up by the Braum and the Skarner. But he is going to dissuade them from just being able to completely blow everyone up. With Varus already being banned away, you're looking at a few options left for the ADC spot. I think that Tristana is probably the best option remaining. You could make an argument about Kog'Maw, and he wouldn't be that bad, but Tristana is just going to be a little bit more versatile in the later stage team fights. And she's also able to fit into more spots, depending on how TSM's actually going to engage with their team comp. So see what ends up happening. And, I mean, we can also talk about the early game stuff. So the early game jungle routes aren't as big as they have been in some of the other VODs that we've gone over tonight. Skarner and Sejuani don't have the best of ways of making anything happen. If we are looking at some stuff, though, obviously Skarner has some versatility in mid lane, and then obviously Skarner wants to probably be playing on the right-hand side until Ornn has 6. Once Ornn has 6 and Skarner has 6, Skarner can actually commit a lot of time up to the top left-hand side of the map. The only time where Svenskeren can actually get any benefit out of Gnar up in top lane is actually super early on, and then again whenever they're able to generate a slow push, crash into Ornn's turret, and if Skarner is going to be on the right-hand side of the map. But other than that, Svenskeren probably just going to be playing right-hand side of the map for the most part, and then he can ditto Mike Young onto the left-hand side when, you know, both junglers have 6. So that's what we should expect to happen. Skarner does have more versatility in mid and in bottom lane than the Sejuani has. So that's important to take into consideration when watching the opening routes. If you're Mike Young in this game, you probably just go for a complete full clear, or you can do like the route that we saw Xsmithy do or something. You could probably do blue Gromp Wolves into enemy Scuttle, into Bounce Back. Into your red side jungle, and then do a full clear, and then you can path to the right-hand side of the map, and then go back onto the left-hand side of the map when the top lane is going to be getting level 6, and then you can maybe look to make something happen, because it's going to be unlikely that Sejuani is on that side of the map at that point in the game. So they're fighting over some of the spires. Nothing else really happening right now. And Svenskeren actually gonna go and get his blue. We'll see what he does after the blue. Mike Young is going for what seems to be the full clear. Now, see, this is the variation that I don't like, or this is where I feel like there's a little bit of lost opportunity. So you can see that Bjergsen goes over, he gets some intel onto the left-hand side. But if Mike Young actually just went like this, gets the Scuttle Crab, everything ends, and then Mike Young can actually just go into power farming. And this lets him set back up perfectly for transitioning onto the left-hand side of the map when Hauntzer would be approaching level 6, and you basically can know that Svenskeren staying inside of his left-hand side jungle is not going to be able to match you at that time in the game. See some chaos happening. And it looks like Mike Young trying to make a play happen against Jensen. So let's just take a look at how this all unfolds. So you see, there's the trades happening down in bottom. Mike Young has no idea if he's on top of a board, but when Jensen reacts the way that he does, it's still just looking like it's going to be a free kill. So they get a free kill, and now immediately Mike Young passes onto the right-hand side. He's ahead in level. Svenskeren's really far behind, ends up taking another Spire, and now Mike Young can actually just path into the bottom, and Sneaky and Smoothie have to respect it a little bit, so they can't actually continue to just exert a lot of pressure with poke and stuff. Haunts are actually doing quite well up in top lane. And now you can see that Mike Young's going to have 6, Haunster's going to have 6 very soon. I don't know what that E was. So when you know that they can't avoid it at that point, you just use no CC as CC. Hand off the blue. And right now Mike Young has a lot of options. He can basically just look to make something happen on Jensen yet again, which it does seem like he was looking to make happen. And now he passes him to the left-hand side. Looks like he's going to pick up the Scuttle Crab. And Cloud9 has to just be super, super respectful regarding everything. Bjergsen actually forced to cleanse out. Let's just take a look at what Bjergsen's doing. So Mike Young's over here, and then Bjergsen's going over there too. And I don't know what type of thing he's trying to get down, but like this is just needless. If you're going to get the Scuttle Crab, you have Mike Young just basically do everything. Bjergsen maintains priority in mid lane. You know that blue buff's coming up anyway, and you play against it with Mike Young. You have him get the red buff, you have Haunter establish priority if he can, and then you just have Bjergsen shove in mid lane, and then everything should end up being fine. But instead, he ends up being forced to blow cleanse. Licorice comes down, and you can see that Mike Young's actually getting red anyway. Comes over, and it looks like he's looking for a Weaver's Wall down in bottom lane. They're going to be able to pick up the kill onto Smoothie. Mike Young takes the golems, and now these are the plays that you have to be super respectful about. Ornn ultimate comes out, hits it. He should have turned. Mike should have done the thing, right? You turn. That's really, really painful to watch. That's really brutal. That is really, really, really brutal. So after this, Licorice and Sven are just so far ahead. This actually just puts TSM in such a rough spot because they committed so heavily for that. Now Jensen's going to have his blue. Nothing's going to be able to actually be done in bottom lane. Now, it's also important that because of the Skarner pick in a way, it's quite good to get the Cloud Drake. Just taking a look at the replay one more time. Then as played out, we saw that Svenskeren immediately goes over, hands over the blue to Orianna, and Licorice just has top lane in a really good state. So this just impacted the next like 3 minutes in the game, that one play. Because if Ornn ends up capitalizing on the Gnar kill and then Svenskeren shows, what it means is that the handoff for blue is slightly delayed, and it also enables Mike Young and Bjergsen to reestablish priority on the right-hand side of the map, which, I mean, right now it's 11 minutes, they're going to pick up the Cloud Drake or whatever, but it's all about tempo control. They could have a lot more vision on Svenskeren. They could basically just be keeping him on a leash up until probably like around 13, 14 minutes. It would be very obvious everything he's doing, and then Mike Young can path again to the left-hand side. Bjergsen can have priority and play to the left-hand side of the lane, and they can look to make more plays against Licorice, and you know that Svenskeren has no camps on that side of the map, nor does he want to be there, and it basically inadvertently grants Sven, or not inadvertently, but it grants Sven and Mithy the luxury of just being able to stagnate and stall the lane as long as they want, and it just helps them so much because it really takes away from Ezreal being able to do anything in the mid game. So there's definitely some pathing errors that we've seen. And I can see that they're trying to make a play down in bottom lane. So let's take a look at this. So they know exactly what Cloud9's trying to do. Bjergsen shoves out mid, and they have Mike Young on the right-hand side. So they're coming in with the Weaver's Wall. This is a really good play that they're looking for. They even call in Haunser, and calling in Haunser is completely unnecessary because it's over. There is no aid coming to this. If you can't close with this without Haunser, you have a really big problem. Haunser should have just stayed up in top lane behind the turret, wait, and then come up, get the wave. Because Orianna, you have vision on her. She's not going to be able to push up the wave and then come up to top because then Haunser can just go like this and then you trade this for this. Which, that is going to be kind of good for Cloud9 because it's an economy turret, and this is an objective turret, which you're guaranteed to get later on in the game anyway via Licorice. In the sense, like, getting these. But TSM is likely never going to get this without the aid of a Baron. So, I mean, this is like one of those teleports that I always just criticize out of Haunser and TSM utilizing them. It's completely useless, makes no sense. There's no value to be gained. And it's not even like you can make an argument that, like, they have Rift Herald or something and there's no way to defend the turret. Because they don't have that. You know what's going on. You see Orianna. Haunser 100% should have stayed top with his teleport. That was completely overkill and completely unnecessary. And so now, after getting bottom tier 1, let's take a look at the lane allocation. So Sven and Mithy continue to push on. You can see Bjergsen trying to hold down mid. Sven still in bottom lane. And it looks like Mithy and Mike Young getting a lot of vision on the right-hand side. And now Sven looks like he actually wants to get a kill onto Sneaky. Doesn't quite have the damage. Not able to do it. And also Sneaky, it should be noted that he does have that Iceborne Gauntlet. So now lots of vision on the right-hand side. But the next neutral objective is the Rift Herald. And they still haven't recalled Sven. Like, he's not achieving anything. You should just sacrifice bottom tier 1 and get Sven back onto the map, establish priority in mid lane, get vision control on the left-hand side, and capture the Rift Herald. Because Haunser's going to have priority up in top lane at that point, because Licorice can't actually move past the river when there's so many members of TSM establishing control on the left-hand side river. Smoothie just ends up dying. Bjergsen holding down mid. Sven shoves up a lane yet again. But he should just be, like, I don't know what he's doing. TSM, stop defending bottom tier 1. It's so useless. Please just rotate 5 people. It's so stupid. Jesus fucking Christ. They need to have Risk Knight with Reggie. That's what needs to go on here. Risk Knight with Reggie. They actually lose Rift Herald. Holy shit. Oh, God. This is so sad. The lane allocations continue to plague them. It was in week 1, it was in week 2. Missed out on week 3 and 4, but here I'm seeing it yet again in week 5. A misunderstanding of what is the priority for themselves and what the opponents need to not happen. Like, asking yourself what the opponent needs rather than what you want is one of the most important questions in competitive play. Yeah, hello, cop. They devoted way too much attention to bottom lane because bottom lane doesn't do anything. Ezreal was already stagnated. right? He was already stalled approaching the mid game. And because of the Talia and because of how much just combo you have inside of your team composition, Cloud9 wasn't going to be able to do anything. You should have just surrendered bottom tier 1 and used the opportunity and the tempo to establish all the control over here like I was talking about. Ornn shoves up to here, Ornn comes down, you get the Rift Herald, Ornn goes back up into top, or actually Ornn shouldn't probably even go back into top. Ornn could probably just recall, go down to bottom lane, pick this up, keep his teleport, and then begin pushing this, and then obviously Licorice would probably match him down in bottom lane. You keep Tristana up here, and then you keep Mike Young and Mithy just basically being a duo for a while Bjerg holds down mid. And then you can just rotate Sven into mid lane post recall, utilize the Rift Herald, and get Jensen's mid tier 1 turret. But instead, what we're going to have here at 20 minutes is we're going to just make an arbitrary decision to shove up this minion wave because it is imperative that we get these minions right now and not 15 seconds from now after Jensen hands them to us and they move up to here. Because these are the important things. So ridiculous. Okay, now the Baron is a bit of a problem because it enables Licorice so much and they're going to get so much value out of this, and it's going to be really difficult for TSM to stabilize because even though Talia is one of the best wave clear champions inside of the game, it detracts and really takes away from Mike Young being able to do anything with the engage. It also, you know, it dissuades TSM from going for their super heavy engage play. The stats are actually really, really important right now at this point in the game, and they're going to get so much gold value, and they can transition this into just stalling the Ocean Drake from being captured, because as long as that dragon remains up, the better it is for Cloud9, because it's just such a useless dragon. This was completely needless. There was absolutely no reason to be in mid lane at that point in time. Zero reason to leave themselves so exposed. This is like, okay, so imagine, all right, so basically, let's think of it like this. Okay, you have a market, which is stop A. All right, this is the market. And then you have your doctor's appointment, which is B, right? Your doctor's is at 4 p.m., okay? And right now, it's 1 p.m., right? But the time at the market is only going to take you 30 minutes. It is like rushing to the market to get your groceries just so you can still arrive at the doctor's an hour early and sit there doing nothing. Like, you can just go to the market a little bit later, and it's going to be okay. And then you'll arrive to your doctor's appointment on time. I'm going places with this. They're rushing to get something just so they can rush somewhere else to wait. Makes no sense. The Baron is just, it caused so many problems for TSM. It works so well against their team composition. It's basically, okay, it's 1 p.m. and you have to go to the market to get food, and then you're panicking to get to the market, even though there's 3 hours until your doctor's appointment. So that's like TSM panicking to get those minions, even though they're not obligated to get the minions because they're not going to be late to their doctor's appointment. So rather than speeding to the market and risking getting into a car accident, you can just go slow And everything's the same way anyway, because you cannot alter the time of the doctor's appointment. Jeez, this isn't hard to understand. All right, let's take a look at this team fight. Skarner does not have a very good angle. Yeah, this is one of those really unfortunate problems, right? Is Cloud9 just has a superior position right now. It's basically impossible for TSM to do anything. Mithy's zoned off. Bjergsen is completely just zoned off from the fight after he does his initial combo. And Mike Young is never getting anything done against that Taric ult. He just goes down immediately. Sven couldn't do anything. That was one of the worst engaged fights for TSM to call. And let's try to go through, their mind. Like, what are they calling for here? So the Ornn ultimate hits, and it doesn't do anything else. You're not getting any more value. Hauntzer doesn't have flash. It's not like he can magically flash to here and then E through and hit the wall and knock everyone up. They're not even in position for that. Even if Mike Young grabs someone, Sven's too far away. Bjergsen doesn't have the damage right now. We're only at 26 minutes. He's not one-shotting anyone. And we're not even respecting the fact that they have the Taric ultimate. They have heal available on Jensen, on Sneaky. This should actually just probably be the end of the game. I don't understand how the YouTube bar is going any longer. They should get double inhibitor, and then there should just be one final push in about 1 minute and 20 seconds after they capture the Baron. So now all Cloud9 actually has to do is just recall. And then you have Gnar go up mid, and you have 4 people go to the Baron, and then you have Gnar... So, we'll just let this replay... no, we're not letting the replay play out. Okay, so you have Gnar go up mid, you have 4 people go like this, 4 people are in here, Gnar stays mid, Gnar eventually moves over like this, he kites the people out of here, you start the Baron, etc. TSM maybe tries to come in, and then it just doesn't matter, because you guys are just actually way too far ahead. No idea what TSM's doing. I'm not even like talking about anything at this point because it's so chaotic and just so bizarre. The game has been over for about 5 minutes and we just haven't seen the final Doom push. It should be coming in right about now. What Bjergsen's doing the solo queue thing where like the person runs off the fountain, they just run all the way up here and let the enemy team push. No, I know what he's doing. He's going for a Weaver's Wall, which is actually really smart. He does cut them off, but the problem is that Cloud9 just has so much more going for them right now. Sven just doesn't have the damage. Bjergsen can't actually do anything. And Skarner at this point, when TSM's team composition is behind, Skarner is just going to be so useless. They have to basically be on an even footing, and it's still scary. And that is going to be the end of the game. Okay, so let's talk about a few things. TSM's mid-game macro rotations were a complete loss of opportunity. Like, they dropped every ball in the book. They were in such good positions. The top lane thing, mechanical blunder, that it has such a ricochet effect on the rest of the game, and it allows Cloud9 to just get back to a point where things are just going to be so good. The mid-game thing with like the market and doctor appointment analogy is just, it's a classic example of something that pro players in every single region, they do it. And it makes absolutely no sense why they do it, because you think that it would be one of the easiest things to fix. They just want to get the wave out of the way so they can begin to talk about something else without realizing they should just talk about something else, wait for the wave, and then just kill the wave. So doing it in reverse would have been a little bit better. TSM still has the same exact issues. So even though we're 3 weeks later, all of the VOD reviews that I've done tonight, every single team continuously seems like they had the same exact problems that are ailing them. So not really seeing too much change there, although I will say that Cloud9 does look more refined. Every team except for Cloud9 so far has not really looked that refined. So that's it for this VOD review.